Hey, YouTube.
Good day. We are live
Instagram
on
is up.
Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome.
Welcome to
Awesome. What's up,
Smoking
guys? Today we are on episode 21. Episode 21 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. Hopefully, y'all doing all right. It is again B Day. For those of you who don't know, and for those who are just now coming into this podcast, we are Ufulu Child. I'm Coach Soul. This is my lovely wife,
Coach Tensi. Good day.
Coach Tensi, and we have a 5-prong healing system that we teach from. We have the concepts of be, cleanse, fuel, move, and shine, and they correspond with the 5 days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And so, 5 days of the work week, or the work strong, if you will. And today is indeed B Day. So today we're talking about how to integrate one's self, the art of shadow integration, basically becoming whole. Because yesterday, me, the coach, I tripped out. I had a very angry moment. And that's the thing. We all have moments where we're going to experience, super strong emotions. And sometimes, just with all of the different factors going on all at once, we'll overreact, we'll do the stupid thing, whatever the wrong thing to do is. Hopefully it's not, up to a very large extreme, but we'll lose it, right? Everybody's familiar with the concept of like losing your cool, losing it, being not yourself, whatever it is. And so I thought it'd be a great idea, since that happened yesterday, to today talk about becoming whole and the art of shadow integration. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, follow, notify yourself for next time we're going live, and share this video out as much as you can. That way the people in the algorithm world and the little automatic systems know that you like this content, know that other people might like this content. And one moment, please.
Yeah. So, since today is about becoming whole and the the art of shadow integration, this early morning, I want to take a moment just to talk about what is this shadow that we're speaking of. So, shadow, and whenever you say the sun has set and you're walking down the street and there's a straight light, and you look down at a little angle and you can see your shadow on the sidewalk, right? So, that is kind of symbolic here of the other side that doesn't typically have the wheel. It's the other side of yourself that sometimes people associate with like the dark side of yourself, like the part that they don't really want to like show to the world because it could have some pain associated to it. It could have traumas associated to it. It could have just areas for growth. It's just the other side. It's the opposite polarity. And when you think of polarity, you think of a battery. It has a positive and negative ends to like a AAA battery or something like that, right? And you typically are consciously working toward that positive end, we'll say. Now the polarity is the negative end. Um, it doesn't necessarily mean like your shadow is not necessarily bad and in of itself, right? In ancient times, there was a concept of the ka, and the ka was the representative of this spirit, this spirit that's also you, that's kind of like a energetic double, right? And in this concept, it would represent the opposite polarity. So when you go left, it goes right, for example. And so there's this practice that used to be done where you would integrate your ka. You would bring harmony to your whole being by sending love, bringing balance to your ka, or to the shadow aspect of yourself.
Hmm.
And so here, this is where personal growth comes in, right? It's coming to wholeness through this aspect of observing our whether it was a childhood, something that came from childhood that's coming up now, strongly through being triggered or whatever,
Well, on a zoomed out,
or
just your patterns,
your patterns
your
that
patterns.
are opposite to what it is that is most harmonious, most healing, most aligned with freedom for you. We have
Yeah.
to address those things.
And one more addition to the philosophical concept itself, within everyone, or within all stories, I'll say, all heroes' journeys, all, character arcs, there's a push and a pull. The difference between the push and the pull is that the push is what you're working to get to. The push is what you have to put effort in to make it, in that direction, or to persevere and keep heading in that direction. The pull, on the other hand, you don't really have to do anything. It's going to suck you in. It's going to, um, direct your moments where you've let go of the steering wheel, or you've, become complacent, in the negative sense of the word, or the lazy sense of the word complacent, and it's going to pull you in that direction. So there's a push and a pull within us all, and when we stop pushing, we're pulled in the direction of the shadow, to a degree that we're not also we become the shadow, where we're not ourselves, because we become full shadow, instead of having this duality exist in a cohesive way, where the shadow can be used effectively and the light can be used effectively. So you don't want to go too far into "I have to be positive," because obviously that can lead to naivete and passivity. And you also don't want to go too much into the shadow, as that can lead to a whole host of unnecessarily harmful and hurtful things. So
Well,
push and pull.
yeah. And to add on to that, just to bring some more context, it's like with this push and pull and addressing the shadow, one of the things that's vitally important is to understand yourself fully. So your self, capital S self, right? That is the true essence of your being, that's underlying all things. That's of that real unconditional love of that allows for all things. That's a generative principle of care that allows for all things to be. And self-awareness and reflection is going to be a big thing here. So um, yeah, do you want to expand a little bit on some of the things
Sure.
that it takes
So
to understand yourself fully?
capital S self is not in duality. Capital S self is the space in which duality can occur. Capital S self is also not individual. It's not
Not separate.
separate from anything. In fact, it is the space in which everything is and can be, and always has been. So your life story, from uh, conception to eventual transition, all of that happens within capital S self, billions of times over. Now, the individuated seat of consciousness, right? Because consciousness also appears and disappears within capital S self, which is, you could call it pure awareness. It's hard to give it a name. There is no name for capital S self, so we just call it self, but as a title. But there's a seat of consciousness, which is the I am principle. And this I am principle is you. It's observe it just, it has the quality of just observing, learning from, gathering, not gathering, how to say, being there with your life story, but not necessarily in a participating dynamic manner. The mode of operation for the I am principle is simply that it is. It just
Yeah.
is. It's just I am, and that's the end of the story. And there's a beauty in the stillness in understanding the I am principle, because the push and the pull within the dynamic, right, or the what you're working towards and what will pull you in if you don't keep working. This duality that happens within the I am principle on a slightly lower level, which we're going from the super duper top, down to different lower levels of operation. But this duality that occurs and that we learn from, and that how basically how we get our lessons in this life is best best integrated when you're becoming familiar with the I am principle within yourself, with the seed of consciousness that is not lost in the story of what's happening to me, what's happening to them, what my, super rigid conclusions are or preconceived notions. And I usually uh, help people understand this I am principle via meditation and journaling practices.
Yeah. And it's like any time that you're truly present, that's where it's there always, and you can see it. Not see it as though it's some object, but you can know it when you're present. So, um, in terms of steps to take to integrate your shadow, I would like to highlight a few. We already mentioned basically becoming familiar with that true self. Um, but also, you can utilize journaling in addition to meditation, that was already mentioned, to where you start to see patterns as you're writing and you're reflecting on the things that um, you have, like the thought patterns, the emotion patterns, the actions, the patterns and the actions that were taken, acknowledging and accepting without judgment, or at least getting to that point, what has been is important. Um, Coming to an acceptance of truth is vital. If freedom is what we so choose, right? And so accepting what has been is one of the first steps once we are made aware of of where the shadow has kind of like taken the wheel, and like it tends to be fueled off of fear, right? So we have to bring in the opposite of fear. We have to bring love, because they lead to two separate trajectories. Fear leads to confusion, which leads to chaos, which leads to control. And on the other hand, love leads to understanding, which leads to order, which leads to freedom. And you can't get understanding from fear. You can't get freedom from control. You can't get they're mutually exclusive.
Yet they're
So
not mixable.
one of the only things, like, you can't jump over to, freedom from confusion. You will never be free if there's a space where you're confused in that area, right? So we have to seek understanding first by acknowledging and accepting. And something that, especially if you've explored anything like inner child work, or inner shadow work, there might be an inner dialogue, a speaking to that part of you that was in fear. Any derivative of fear doesn't have to just be like, oh, I'm scared means I'm fearful, but fear could be like the anger. Fear could be like any resentment or shame or sadness, or all that comes from some variation of fear. While the gratitude, the love, the appreciation for what is or what has been, no matter how ugly we may think it is, or how um, we may wish it wasn't a part of our expressions, we have to take it for what it is and see, and we can begin to have a dialogue with that aspect of ourselves, to kind of understand what drives, what led it to have those conclusions, to have those responses, to have those reactions. What is it trying to express? What does it, wish to, um, see in this world, and what is missing, right? What is missing that it's trying to fill that kind of gap with the rate, with the reaction, or with the, whether it's thoughts or emotional reactions that come up and we feel pass through our bodies, or it's through the actions that we are taking with our bodies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some practical exercises.
Because most people, when they think of, how to improve themselves or how to improve their patterns and behaviors, uh, think in terms of avoiding the shadow.
You cannot.
They think in terms of moving away from the shadow or trying to leave their shadow behind, as if they can, evolve to such a point where where what caused the shadow didn't happen or doesn't exist genetically anymore, and it just went away. And of course, that's impossible. Like Coach Tenzi said, and it's not realistic. What is realistic though is that embrace of, I can see what's pulling at my attention. I can see what's pulling at my patterns. I can see what's pulling at my mode of being, and I can embrace the parts of myself that resonate with that. And in that embrace, I can understand what the better choice is and make that better choice. Right. And so it's not about working and efforting so hard to move away from the pull. It's about embracing both the light and the shadow, so that uh, as you effort towards more and more light, you're not trying to leave behind parts of you. You're embracing your whole self and moving forward and evolving even your shadow as you move forward.
Yeah, I'd like to add on to that to bring some clarity, because um, to bring some extra clarity to what you're saying.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, I can be quite philosophical, so please do.
when uh, you're not leaving behind your shadow, you will change. You will change. The things that you have done, you will do no more. However, one easy way to think about it is think about that aspect of yourself that expresses in the ways that are contrary to the things that you most wish for, truly in your heart of heart, like freedom, and the things that were aligned with love, that path of love. Um, think of it as your shadow is a small child, right? A small child. You don't want to neglect this child, right? If your shadow were a child and it was lashing out, or it was, curling up in a ball and like trying to hide away or whatever, how would you care for and love a child that's in pain? It's kind of like a pain body, like that inner child aspect. So I one way I see shadow integration is integrating that inner woundedness, healing the wounded aspects of ourselves, and you can't do that through being fearful of it and stuck in that fear. You have to move into a deeper, all-encompassing type love of yourself. That's going to be vital. Like, there's no other way. Like, if you did see it as that aspect of yourself that keeps getting in the way, self-sabotage, as truly like like an innocent little child that's just has been programmed in this way for so long, and this is just how it's reacting. How would you then treat yourself when you have these reactions. It's not just about like a chastisement and I'm not going to do that ever again and how dare I, yada yada. You need to have some good boundaries with yourself. Um, but you also need to bring in love and care in order to move past and move through the points where you're getting sucked into that shadow identity.
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
let me know
So,
if that makes sense.
no, it absolutely does. And there's an element of authenticity when that deeper love for yourself, that love that operates on observing the true patterns for what they are, and accepting that this is where you are right now and this is where you'd like to be. And when the muscle memory of the bad habits comes up again, and you're like, dang, I'm really trying to move past this, not going into necessarily self-hate, but going into embracing that this is elements of your shadow that should be embraced and understood and observed, reflected on, and evolved as you evolve toward the light.
And there's that healthy boundary right there, because you're not allowing for yourself to get sucked into it, but it's kind of like in a mature adult caring for, almost like a good parent, this inner child, guiding it.
Yeah. So thank you all for tuning into episode 21 of the Holistic Freedom Secrets podcast. We have a blast every time we go live with you guys. Make sure that you please like, subscribe, comment, follow, notify yourself, and share this out. It is imperative for you, for us, and for the algorithms and the world of algorithm.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is cleanse day. We're going to talk about cleansing some aspects of self, some aspects of small s self, and because you can't cleanse the big s self.
No need.
There's no qualities there. But we're going to talk about cleanse tomorrow, and I can't wait to see you there.
Yeah. So in the comments, let me know. We don't normally talk about this aspect of life, like shadow integration and things, but put your story down below, something that resonated, something, a way that you're integrating your shadow to come to more wholeness and embrace more wholeness in your life. Thank you. Take care, loves.